Just
But I need to be liquid though.
oh,
The liquid millionaire.
liquid is fun. They just ask you for a
Yeah.
whole lot of money. Everybody got a call that you need to donate when you got when they know you got money.
Okay, we ain't gonna tell nobody. Oh, we live. What's up? What's up? What's up?
And they got us.
Yeah, welcome to another Financial Friday. I'm your host, Dr. A.D. Burns, and this is my co-host, brother minister. It ain't Sergeant. What is it?
I'm I am
Chief.
regular.
Chief.
I'm
No, that's Chief. That's brother minister Chief Jones. James Jones
oh
is our co-host on Friday Night Live. How you doing, Mr. J?
I'm doing good, Pastor. But let me get it started and get it warmed up. Hello, everyone, and good evening to all my grinders out there. We're gonna get it good today.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are going to get it good today. Listen, this has been a real exciting 90-day challenge. Let me say this again to those of you who have the 90-day challenge. They'll drop a link in the chat there if you want to get the copy of the 90-day challenge. I had a couple other people ask me again, was this the book, The Road to Six Figures? This is not the Road to Six Figures. This is the 90-day challenge. The 90-day challenge is designed to help you make sure you got your foundation in place so that you can be on the road to six figures. So at the end of the 90-day challenge, we're going to be releasing the book, and then we're going to begin the road to six figures, and I can hardly wait.
Oh yeah, yes.
And so we're on week number 5 of the 90-day challenge, and I really appreciate those who've been reaching out and asking questions, and that let us know that you are connected. And so we're going to spend a couple weeks now, week 5 and week 6, we're going to spend talking about active income. Yeah.
Yes.
And then
That's what it's all about.
and then James, I don't know, I don't think we could talk about active income without talking about passive income, because it almost seemed like passive income, that multiple screen, is where we really want to go. But we only said active income. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, active income is typically how everybody is going to start. So not everybody is coming in with a wealth of money behind them.
Okay.
So if we was to start with passive, that means that you already have that money built in. But that's what we want everyone to be. So in the end, we want people to have passive income that they can diversify and give to their children or to their grandchildren. But in the beginning, even myself, active income is not bad. It's just that's where most people are starting off at. So
Okay.
active income is it.
All
Yeah.
right. And so when we start looking at the whole idea of active income, it's going to be very challenging for some when we talk about increasing active income. Now,
Yeah.
let me see what I'm going to do here.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could bring up I didn't have that ready, but
Okay.
it's right here. Oh, I think we had trouble last time bringing that up, didn't we? Let me see if I can bring that up so people can see it. And if not, we on week 5 in your workbook. We're
Yeah. Yeah.
on week 5 in your workbook, and yeah, it's not letting me bring it up. I think we had problems with that last week, and so uh, I don't know how I did it the first time, but week 5 we talk. The focus is for week 5 and week 6 is increasing income through work and skills. And so passive income, we're going to be talking about increasing your income through work and skill.
Yeah.
Our scripture is Proverbs 14:23, and it says, "In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty." Wow. That's
Yeah.
almost like I said, talk is cheap. And, you
Talk is
know,
always talk is always the cheapest thing that somebody can do. But let me give a quick shout out to Miss Tucker. We want to say, hey, good morning, thank you, or good evening. But yeah, people talk a lot, and I found that out real quick when I was just getting started. There's a lot of people that had a lot of ideas, but when it comes to moving stuff in place, that all that talking gonna have to start putting itself into action.
Mhm.
So anyone can say, "I want to make six figures," and I think that's a good thing to start off with. But if you don't put any action behind or any work behind it, you don't put yourself in place to start doing six figures, then you would never be on the road. You're just a sideline person or part of the audience. So I think the beginning step is to put your mind there. Right? Like you get your mind there, you get your words there, and then we start growing in that aspect. And then that's how active income becomes more. And then you start assigning your time and assigning your money, and then that start putting everything in place. And then as the blessings continue to flow, they multiply in their own position and own right.
So it's so important because the things that we're going over, even though we're doing it week by week, it's a package. It's not a la carte. Like you could do this but not do this. It's a
Yeah.
package, and those things that we talked about, budget, signing money, things of that sort, is so important in order for you to really be able to build on. And so when we talk about active income, it's important that we look at the money that you got coming in and make sure that we're getting the most bang for the buck, if you will. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's amazing how when you do a budget and when you look at money, you have so much money that you waste, or and I don't know if waste is the word because you buy it on things that you enjoy or whatever. But that's why we need to have that sanity part of our budget so that you can squeeze a little bit out of there. But overall, you know, being able to make sure with your active income, I think I said passive, active income,
Yeah.
that you are getting the most out of your income.
Yeah, and what you're saying is true. And I think the better word isn't waste. It's more like uh, I think the Bible says it best. You have holes in your pocket
Okay.
because we often don't look at all the money that we're spending on stuff, or we're not calculating all the money.
Hmm.
Because when I was younger, and as well as even now, there's are times where I'm splurging. I guess that's a word to use. I'm splurging and I'm not careful about how much I'm spending. I'm just spending money because I'm having fun. And it's a time and place for that. That's why when you assign money, so even though you have money set aside, that's my splurge money. That's the money that if I want to go somewhere and I want to have the ice cream and I want to have the fried chicken and I want to have the three burgers, and that's my first meal of the day, where that money is coming from. That's where that money is coming from. You know.
Three burgers, fried chicken, and ice cream. That's just
Oh
one meal.
yeah, man. I remember one time I went to not Speed Queen. I think it's called Speed Queen. I went to Speed Queen, got myself a frozen custard or like a sundae. Got myself a little sundae. I went
Very
to Burger
tasty.
King. Burger King had the two meals for 20. So you get two Whoppers, two fries, two sodas, $20. And then you go right over to KFC, right here in Milwaukee. Hashtag Milwaukee had it going on. You had Burger King, then you had KFC. And you go right up the street on 60th. It's all on that 60th street. So you had KFC and Taco Bell all together. You drive down, you got Burger King on Final Lac, you drive a little bit more over, and then you got the old custard shack on like Center Street. Oh no, trust me, I know my routes. Hey, I get it in. But I'm saying that to say it was assigned.
Okay.
And that's what everybody needs to be putting themselves into. Because you may not eat like me. You may not eat as much as me. But if you got two or three kids and you go to Burger King, you're still spending $25, $30.
Yeah.
You I mean those things happen.
Hmm.
And if you don't notice, right? Because let's say you break 100, which is like a cardinal rule against anybody who's trying to save.
Right.
And why is that a cardinal rule? That's like a unspoken bond. If you want to save your money, you make it into $100 bill and you saved 100.
Right.
Because the moment that sucker break down, the moment it breaks and you got a couple 20s, it's like you set fire to it. Yeah,
Right.
It was there. Then you gave your kid $2. You gave somebody 5. Somebody asked for 10, and now you looking at it and you like, I got $30 in my hand.
Right.
What happened? I just had 100. I just had the 100. But what happens when you have the 100? You're conscious about the $100.
Yeah.
Everybody's conscious about that $100 bill. Like, I'm not gonna break my 100. Try to go to the gas station with a $100 bill. It's not gonna be broken. They're gonna look at you like, what are you doing? Unless you buying $100 worth of gas, we're not breaking that 100.
Right.
But the moment that 100 is broken, it's light up like a gas, like it's lit up like gas on fire or fire on gas, because that's how fast we spend it.
Okay.
The same is true when you have a debit card and you're not assigning it,
Yeah.
because you can spend $2.50 and you're not even checking to see if it's the best deal. Sometimes you're just spending it because they're like, oh, it only costs $1. Okay, cool. I went to one of my kids' games. They sold concessions.
Right.
A hot dog is $2.50. Chips is $1. Soda $1. By the time you get done, you already spent $5 and you only got 3 items. You spend well more than what you was planning on spending, and that's just one person. And I got snacks. I still got kids I gotta feed. I got their friends that may ask for some stuff. I got my wife with me. Like, all of these things add up if you don't assign your money a project, or you don't assign your money something to do. An active income is how everyone typically makes their money. So we got to start at where we start at. And that's where active income, or knowing how active income is utilized, that will help us get to where we need to be.
So let's talk a little more about this assigned money, because I don't know if everybody who's tuned in and understand the language. Going back to our budget, we're saying that all of our money, all of your income should have an assignment. So when you pay your light bill, you're assigning your money to We Energies, or you're assigning your money to your rent or your mortgage. You're assigning your money to gas in your car. You're assigning your money to your car note. You're assigning money to your insurance. And so we're saying that you have to also assign your money. Any money that you have should have an assignment. And all monies that's left over, let's say you make $100, and then after you assign everything out, your budget is $75. Then you got $25 left over. So that $25 is not just there for you to blow through it. That $25 need an assignment. Now, I think next week not next week, but the next part, we'll be talking about investment. And so you'll take that $25 and then let that $25, let's say, lock it into a CD. And now that $25 is making some money. Yeah. And the money that is making will be called passive.
The investment money is passive. Yes.
Right. Investment money. All
yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about the assign. When we talk about assigning money, how important that is, and how that can really help you really get down the road. And then after that, we're going to look at a video clip, YouTube clip, and then we're going to come back and we're going to try to break it up, this whole idea of active income.
Okay. So when it comes to assigning money, there's so much to be said with the assignment of money, because money is the best way, or the best tool besides time, that we can utilize to say, what are you doing with what you have? It is how you spend your money. It's how you assign your time. So if you was wasteful and you spent your money on anything, right? Mm-hmm. So you may be homeless. And then on top of being homeless, you're a loaf. Why is that? Because you spent all your money, and then on top of that, you didn't do anything with your time. And I think the best way to put that is, there once was a son who had a rich dad, and he said, "Hey, Dad, give me what's mine." He went to a faraway country. He blew all his money, and he wasn't productive with his time. What happened? He started feeding creatures that was, in all actuality, unclean to him. He was the one feeding slop to pigs. Mm-hmm. you don't want to be the person who has to feed something that you are already saying is unclean,
Wow.
because that person wasn't productive with his time and he didn't assign his money something. So his money left with his partying. His money left because he was unfruitful with his money.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to assignment, don't just let people take money from you. And when I say don't let them, if We Energy need a bill, right? They don't have to take your money, right? You could assign it a task. I give this money to We Energies for this purpose. That's the reason why they have a payment plan in We Energies. That's the reason why every financial entity has a payment plan, because you're assigning that money. If you can pay it all in one bill, in one payment, my recommendation is to pay it. But when do you pay it? It's because you have to assign it a date.
Yeah.
I will pay this bill on the due date. Or you could do something similar to what I do, is I pay it one day before the due date. So on the due date, I can see that it got processed and I can see that it got paid. It's just a way of double checking to make sure. Well, why do I assign it differently? Well, I assign it differently because I'm assigning it. I make my automatic withdrawals work for me and my family.
Yeah.
And the same is true to what I'm requesting. And remember, everything I'm doing is just a request.
Mm-hmm.
I've already, the ideas have already been utilized. The process has already been validated.
Mm-hmm.
We have already certified that this is the best course of action, is to assign your money.
Yeah.
so so the only thing left is to do it and to see if you can prove it wrong. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 will always be 4, because we have proven that 2 + 2 is 4.
Okay.
And we agree that the number 2 plus the number 2 equals 4. I'm telling you that if you assign your money, it's already been proven that if you assign your money a task, and that's what the money is doing, that's how you can now objectively look and see if it's doing what you assign it to do. If I give my money to my kids to be responsible, I assign money to my kids to be responsible.
Yeah.
If I turn around and they bought a boatload of candy and it's not for lunch, and they just bought some candy, they bought it for their friends, and they're affronting, or they're trying to make themselves look good in front of their friends, well, the next time some money come up, I'm going to be more reluctant to give it to them because they didn't do what was assigned to them to do. So of what assignment is a lot of what we are requesting, but it's something in which you have full 100% control of.
Yeah. And that's so important because, and we don't really want to stay on it too long because we spent a couple weeks on budget, but that's so important to make sure that your money has an assignment and that you are actually literally looking to see how your money could be utilized and not just, allowing your money to dictate to you. The Bible says in Proverbs 10:4, it says in NIV, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth.
Yeah.
And so just don't let your money flow any way it want to flow. You direct your money. You tell your money what to do. Amen.
Amen.
All right, let's look at this clip on active income, and then let's talk a little bit. Spend our time talking about active income. All right. So let's see. Boom.
I don't think I hear it.
No volume on there.
Yeah, I don't hear no volume.
I think I went back to the other one that I did. All right. We're gonna try it again. It said use the tab. That's what I did, and I think I used the other one. And then let's see.
You make pizzas and you go home. And then every 2 weeks or so,
You hear it?
you'll get paid for making those pizzas.
Yes, I can hear it.
And that's active income. That means for every hour you spent making
Or you may want to
pizzas,
start over,
you will
Pastor.
get paid for your time, but that's it. I'm going to start with active income because that's the one that we most likely do. So what's active income? Well, active income is the type of income that you get from a normal job. Let's say, for instance, you make pizzas. You show up to work, you make pizzas, and you go home. And then every 2 weeks or so, you'll get paid for making those pizzas. And that's active income. That means for every hour you spent making pizzas, you will get paid for your time, but that's it. There's no more income. You mow a lawn, you get paid, that's active income. Even if you're on salary at your job, you're still showing up to your job and you're actively working for a paycheck. And that's what most of us do, and that's just fine. But there's another type of income called passive income, and that's what I'm going to go into next.
So we're gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
And talk about active income. So he shared a lot, and I just wanted to show it from a different perspective because we've shared those same things, but just so that we're clear when we talk about active income, we're talking about the income that comes from your main job or your main source of income, right?
Yes.
And we're saying that on the road to six figures, that your active income is your foundation, is the base, is your base. And if you get your base right and working right, then as we do morph over into passive income, as James said earlier, if you don't have that part, if you don't have the active right, then the passive ain't gonna be right.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, active income is how, like I was saying earlier, most of us don't have passive income to create more passive income. So we're utilizing active income. And it's good. It's not so everyone can understand trading time for money is a good beginning. That's not where you want to stay, but it is a good beginning.
And you're saying trading time for money is active income. That's what you're doing on your regular job, because it doesn't go higher or lower. Is what you give in your time, you trading that for your income. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you work 40 hours a week and you get paid $7.45 an hour, or you work 40 hours a week and you get paid $31 an hour, you're still working a set amount of time for a set price. And that's not bad. So I don't want to tell anybody, oh no, that's worse. No, it's not bad. It's a start. Start at start. Mm-hmm. I have an active income, and I had an active income. I still got an active income. And when I hit the age where I don't choose to have an active income, I want to make sure I progress over into only having passive income. And that will ultimately be where I want to end up in my retirement years. But that's another time for another day.
Okay.
Right now, the biggest thing that everyone got to understand is that if I'm trading my time for money, then you know the value of the dollar. And I've said this before. It's easier and more cost effective for me to work a job per hour than it would be for me to try to fix my own car. So if my engine or let's say my control arm breaks. Yes, my control arm does cost money, but is it more effective for me to go out, grab all the parts, sit on the ground, put everything together, and hope I do it correctly? Or is it more cost effective for me to go to work, do what I'm proficient at, and then pay somebody else to do it? Now, that depends on you. Even though I am certified to do it or previously certified to do it, that doesn't mean that it's more cost effective. If it's going to take me 2 days to do my tire and I get paid about $100 an hour, that's not cost effective to do that tie ride. It's more cost effective for me to get myself to work and back in those 2 days and put that car in the shop, because the amount of money that I could make versus the amount of money I'm saving, I could make more money going to work than I could save doing my own tie ride.
Yeah. So when we look at it like that, you got to be careful, because you could just be being cheap, you know. You know what I mean? Because you got to value your time, and when you think about that, that makes a lot of sense. If I'm making $100 a day, and I'm take 2 days off to fix a car, that if I put it in the shop, it'll be $75. $200, $100 a day is $200. So it'll be better for me to go to work and then pay somebody to fix the car. And we have to start, a six-figure person has to start thinking that way, because a lot of times we'll find ourselves doing things that somebody else could do more efficient than we can, and we use a lot of our time trying to do something that we should be partnering with someone else to do.
Yeah, and plus it allows people, by saying no, it allows someone else to say yes. You don't have to be on the ground doing something that you hoping that you know how to do correctly. Have somebody else do what they need to do correctly. That way, someone else, hopefully it's somebody local in your area, because I'm all about keeping your dollars inside your area. I'm all about that. But if you need to go outside your neighborhood, go. If you don't, and you can keep the money in your neighborhood, in your community, I say do that. But with all that being said, if they're proficient at tie rod ends and you're proficient at the business in which you carry on, right? If you're an accountant and you're the most efficient accountant you know to be, well, then that's your that's your resource that you can utilize to make money.
Yeah.
That money will certainly take care of you laying on the ground trying to look at Google and say, I think I can do this, right? That's fine that you think you can do that, but let's say you take off 2 days, right? Because you save yourself $2, but you lose out on $1,600, right? But then you're driving and something isn't quite right because you forgot to do something. Or the person on Google, the person on YouTube that was showing you how to do it, they forgot to do something. And since you followed all of their instructions, you don't know that you messed up. So now you're driving and now your wheel fall off. Well, how much more are you now losing versus having an expert do it? Too often we just don't assign our money correctly, and we're not looking at our active income as a resource to get those things done that we need to get done.
Yeah, just being cheap. Listen, we got a question. June said, he's asked the question, so by assigning your money, is that how you save? Is that how you save, by assigning your money? So the answer to that is yes, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Because you've already created your budget, and with your budget, that's how you assign your money. So everything is assigned in your budget, and then whatever's left over now, you can begin to utilize that into investments. Remember, we're saying that savings is a place where we park money until it builds up into whatever we're going to target.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit, Jane.
Yeah, I think that's why when you ask the question, I'm like, well, how do you save it? It's like if I put $100 if I put a single dollar, right? I put it inside of a shredder. I think that's the best example you could think of it, right? When you put it inside of a shredder, every dollar is ripped up. Every piece of that dollar is ripped up. Not a single dollar passes that's not cut inside of the shredder. So you put a whole dollar in, and then as it shreds, you got all these little slots that the dollar must fall into. That's how you save money, because you got a slot for God, slot for country, your slot for living, and your slot for savings, right? The money is falling into these areas. And that's how assigning money allows you to be more effective. Because if I make, let's say I work a lawn care job and I get paid $1,000 every lawn or $500, just by knowing that I will get paid $500, I'm already assigning money to pay for the taxes.
Okay.
I get paid, I'm already assigning money to give to the church. I'm already assigning money that I'm going to put inside my savings account until I can make an investment movement. I'm already assigning money to how much I need to live off of. Because if you're doing lawns, you may say to yourself, I need to make $3,000 this month. So that's what you're outside working for. So you can make that amount of money. So everything with an assignment allows you to clearly see where your money is going. I think that's the best way. That's the best way to say that. By assigning your money, you're much more you're clearly able to see where your money is going.
Yeah, and so a six-figure person is one who's conscious of where their money is
Yeah,
conscious of what their money is doing, and so you have a bigger goal in mind, and so you're not just saving money, putting it on the side, and just watching the money. You're thinking bigger than that. You're thinking, okay, how can this money turn into passive income and make some money for me while I'm doing my active income 9 to 5 every week. And so if you just park the money in a savings account, you're not going to get very much interest on that. And
yeah,
so you look for something bigger to put that money in. Let's say you saving $25 a week is how much you're able to save, and then you got your eye on a CD that's going to bring in 4 times as much as the savings account, but it's $500. So you put your $25 a week in your savings until it builds up to $500. Then you take it out and you go buy the CD, and then
yeah.
you start the process all over again. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you did. You did say that right. I couldn't have said it better myself. I
All
can
right.
add to it, but I can't say it better.
All right. Well, add to it then.
Okay. The reason why you're doing that, the reason is because a savings account doesn't produce a suitable amount of dividends. It does not and is not designed to produce a lifelong savings. It's just not designed for that.
Even though they
That's the
call
reason.
it a savings account.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff. If you know the history of the country, you know that they took gold. They told everybody bring your gold to the bank, and then they said, you know what, gold is illegal for you to have, and this is a certificate, and we're raising the price of gold. That's what they did. If you want to know a little bit what they did to the community, like our community back in the day, they said, hey, we're gonna open a bank called Freedmen's Bank, and they took all the money in and they closed the bank down and said, yeah, we don't have your money no more. And people have lost millions like that.
Okay.
So that's why I am very apt to tell people you to invest in savings is futile. Right? You're setting yourself up because the interest, even though we're not in that time frame that we used to be in, and the way our country treated us back at that time frame is different now. But the way in which a savings account operates now is still not conducive to bringing any longevity. Because I think the highest savings account was around 1%. Well, I think it was 1%. It might have been 0.1%. But we have a lot more items out there that can bring in more money to you. Because anybody can put your savings account, but we don't want you to be in the mindset of a savings account. Be in the mindset of what's the most I can get for my money,
Right.
and that's proper assignment. I don't want my kid to just live. I want my kid to live and have an abundant life.
Yeah.
I don't want to just go to work and hopefully get a paycheck. No, I want to go to work and get a paycheck. These are all the things in which we're not hopeful. We're expecting this to happen, and now we're pursuing this.
Yeah.
Hashtag you should have been there on Wednesday. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of people can hope, and some people are expecting, some people are pursuing, And some people are manifesting.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the manifestation.
Right.
So if and I say that only because if you was there on Wednesday, everybody know if you was there on Wednesday what I'm talking about. But for those who don't know, you have to assign your money. Get the hope in your heart to expect. That's how you're assigning it. And then when the money comes, do what you have called your money to do.
Yeah.
Pursue it. Do the application. Hey, I'm putting $25 in my savings. I'm putting $50 into my investments. My lifestyle is $1,050, and you're doing what you have been assigning your money to do. Now you're doing what you assigned it to do. Because if you're doing what you assign your money to do, your money start doing what you told it to do.
Yeah.
And that's how you build wealth, and that's how we build solidarity and just income. And once you start making it, it's a lot easier to make it. It's like rolling up a hill. It's like rolling up a hill. It will always be hard to roll a ball up a hill. Always. It will always be harder to roll a ball up the hill. But when you get to the top and you got a nice little wad of cash, it's very easy to roll it down the hill.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of stuff stopping you from rolling it down the hill. And when it get to moving, get out the way, because it will crash into anybody. And it will do what it has been told to do. And that is roll down the hill with velocity and speed.
Right. now Corey chimed in about Wednesday. So Wednesday was on point, I guess, for him. But let me say this: 3 things when it comes to active income. Number 1, active income is the foundation. That is your foundation. Number 2, active income can create financial stability for you. All right. When you have your budget and you assigning your money, your active income, it is not meant to be from paycheck to paycheck. It is not meant to just barely have enough. And then thirdly, your active income is your future wealth building tool.
Yeah.
All right. And so it's important that we do right by the money that we have coming in, that we're trading our time for. And that has the ability to create this other platform, if you will, where now you'll be able to build wealth, you know. Yeah. And so being able to just listen to that, what's your guy name? Robert
Kiyosaki. Yes.
He said, "Don't work for money, make money work for you." You know,
yes.
So that's important, and it starts by being wise with the wealth that we have, and have our target for financial freedom. We want to be financial free. We don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. And if that's you, we want you to stay tuned in. And if you follow these steps, if you go back and follow the steps we just laid out for you, the 90-day challenge, I guarantee you, especially if you follow what we're saying today, when it comes to, being strategic in assigning your money, I don't know if we could say another 90 days, you won't be paycheck to paycheck.
I can say that.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna put it out there.
I can say that.
If you follow the 90-day challenge, 90 days from that, you will not have to work from paycheck to paycheck. Yeah.
I would tell anybody, if you do it properly, right? And people are like, what do you mean properly? It's a system, and that system has a formula. So if you apply the formula, right? If you apply the formula, that means you're doing 6 months. You're putting aside 10% of your gross income for the next 6 months. That's your nest egg. No one can take it from you. And now, when you start making those leaps and bounds, when you start moving the way that you want to move, you already got a shelter. Yeah. You're your own bank now. You got your own money already sitting there, so you can make movements. That's what people who knows. I think that's the best way to put it. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's the formula. The formula is to set you up that now you got your own bank. But I got some better news for you. If you're active and 3 of your friends are active, right? Everybody active income and everybody doing a formula. That means your friends are there for you because they want you to make it just as much as they want to make it, because that's what friends do. Friends want each other to make it.
Yeah.
Family 50-50. Friends, no, friends are down. We've been through stuff together and we chose each other. So we always want each other to make it. But think about it. If you got 3 friends, not a lot, you got 3 good friends. That means you can fit them all on your finger. If all your friends are doing the same formula, that means everybody got that 10% in the back. That means that 6 months of 10%, 6 months of all of their emergencies are on the back end. That's 3 people, 6 months. And I can tell you, how much do you make, right? And this for anybody watching, right? Anybody watching, just imagine you get a paycheck, and before the government gets theirs, you get yours.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. You got God and God, country, and yourself, because that's how it originally started.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, what do you mean? That's 10%, 10%, 10%. Well, what I'm doing with the 70, whatever you want to do with the 70. But you're building those aspects of assigning your money. And when you and your friends are all doing well and you all got a backbone, right? Everybody has a backbone. But now when you fall into hard times, you got the safety net. So I'm telling you, if you follow the formula after 90 days, and then you do another 90 days, that's 6 months. That's 6 months of you putting aside 10% of your income. I'm telling you that if anybody was to apply this, right? If you have active income and you're paying all your bills. Now I'm not talking about college kids and you're living at home and you sort of doing it. I'm talking about grown folk who's paying all their bills current.
Right.
You start putting 10% aside after 6 months, 90 days, and then another 90 days. You're gonna have 6 months of bills that you can leverage off of. And that's what everyone needs to have, is because when you run into hard times, guess what you need? Most people have a lot of pride in self, so they hard up on asking somebody else for money. But what if you already had an extra $3,000 in the bank? What if you already had an extra $2,000 in the bank? Let's make it easy. Let's say we do all the things we need to do, but now we just got an extra $1,000 in the bank. Those are the things that start creating a whole new dynamic in the way you talk and the way you move. Because when you got money in the bank, you take on problems a whole lot different because you got your money in the bank. I don't need to argue with nobody. Hey, guess what? If I'm a little short by like $50, $100, I got money in the bank.
Yeah.
I got an emergency coming up and my car broke down and I need to get my car fixed. I got $1,500 in the bank. I'm gonna put that sucker in the shop, get it fixed, and I'm gonna keep moving. Like that's where once you get there, now you like, oh, okay, cool. Now I got money in the bank. Now I got $4,000 in the bank. And now you make it to the end of the year. Because remember, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. That's 490 days. You already got that money in the bank. So when you move different, when you have money that you can easily access, you just move different. Your confidence is different. I remember back when people was a renter, right? One of my guys was a renter. He was strong, but he wasn't as confident. When he bought his own house and he was like, no, this is my house. You can get out of my house.
Right.
His confidence was there because it was his house. He knew it was his house. He knew he paid for it and he paid the taxes on it. It was his house. And I'm telling you that if you do 90 days on 90 days, right, you're going to have that same confidence because now your money's in the bank. You can see it. And now you got a CD or you got a money market. And now your money is moving because you assigned it.
Right. You flowing now. We talked about discipline last week. And so, once you get in that flow, that 90-day anointing, that JJ anointing, that James Jones anointing, and you get in that 90-day flow, and then you need to practice discipline. Don't go take the money and go buy a coat or, don't do that. Let the money work for you. The goal is not to necessarily have more money at this stage as much as it is to have financial freedom.
Yeah.
So your goal is to be financial free. And James, I like your definition. And you say it different every time, but each one you say it is still good. What is financial freedom?
Financial freedom is the ability to do what you want to do without having money being your restraining or
Yeah.
being one of your big factors.
All right. And that's what we want. That's our ultimate goal, is to have financial freedom. So
Yeah.
when things come up, the tire go out or whatever, that you don't have to trip on it. You don't get no anxiety, no worry where you're gonna get it from, or you need to, get something fixed in the house or whatever the case may be, that you have financial freedom. You know that you can just go ahead and take care of that and keep on
Yeah.
working.
I mean, okay. Let me throw a little something in there, just so people understand what financial freedom is. It doesn't mean that we have to fix the tire. Because let's say the tire break, and I pray and I'm like, Lord, this tire done broke for the third time, and God say, go buy a new car.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy a new car. I'm gonna go buy a new car. Why? Because God told me, so I know it's already set up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling people to be frivolous. I'm telling you stuff that I do. Just because something break, it doesn't mean that we need to repair it. We may just need to get a new thing.
Yeah.
But that's where, hey, having a vision, talking with God, prayer, like all these things start happening magically, right? And I say magically because people are like, what do you mean? Like, well, I can't tell you the it factor because I can't explain God. I can tell you that God is love and God is looking for us to rely on him. So just because you got money, it doesn't mean that you stop your reliance. It just means that I just got more resources to do what he called me to do.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I'm gonna just walk up to people and be like, here go $3,000 and here go 100. No, it means that I am reliant on what God tells me.
Yeah.
And now I have the resources to further help the kingdom, to further help his people, to further help anybody that he sent me to do. Because it's just a resource. God is still the source.
Yes.
I'm just better, or I have more resources. But the resources I have is the same resources you have. I have time and I have money. Now, some people have some people have more time than me, some people have more money than me. But guess what? The same is true. Some people have less time than me, some people have less money than me. The goal is for each of us to utilize what God has given us.
Yeah.
So the talents and abilities God gave me is what I'm utilizing. I'm telling you that whatever money you have, you utilize that amount of money. But financial freedom is based off your utilization of what you have. You go 6 months and you're saving up what you make, and I'm gonna go 6 months saving up what I make. Right? We both will be at the same destination. We'll have 6 months of where we have the ability to have a nest egg on what we are accomplishing. And I think that was the kicker, because when you have more money, life doesn't get easier. And when you have less money, life doesn't just naturally get harder. It's just another deficiency in which we can avoid by having more.
Yeah.
A person who's angry, they don't get happy because they have more money. They just become more vicious. A person who's well liked, they don't become vicious because they get more money. They become more well liked. The money is just a tool in which we use to be able to showcase who we are to a broader audience of people.
Yeah. I was looking at this quote here by Chris Rosser. He says this: opportunities don't happen, you create them.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is, when you begin to follow this formula, when you begin to go down this path, when you begin to discipline yourself, sign your money, and begin to take on this mindset, you're in a position to create opportunities. That's what he was saying. Okay, the tire went bad. He said, okay, God said, okay, it's time to get a new car. He can make that opportunity. and
Yeah.
you create that opportunity. And so, financial freedom is bigger than just having more money.
Yeah.
Is being able to be released from the stress, the strain, and the struggle of day to day, or life just be lifing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's within your reach.
Yeah.
We're talking six figures, but I'm gonna say this and we'll move on because I don't want to overwhelm people. Millionaire status is within your reach. Once you
Yeah.
start with this formula
Yeah.
and walk in this active income, and you morph over to the passive, and you start the same thing you do,
Yeah.
before you know it, it builds up, and before you know it, you unpass six figures, and you stay on that path, and oh my God,
That's that, I tried to explain it to somebody one day, and their mind was blown. I was like, dude, the formula works no matter what amount you have. Because
yeah,
some people are at 60, some people are at 70, some people are at 100, some people are at 250,
yeah,
and the formula is still the same.
mhm,
The amount in which you give the people is still the formula is still it's still the formula. It's just now I can give 10%. Well, what's 10% of 250? Well, I mean it's 25,000. But what's 10% of 100? It's still 10,000. I'm still giving 10%.
yeah,
And it's like, well, what do your insanity look like? Well, my sanity pool may get a little bigger because now it's 5%,
mhm,
and it may get a little smaller because now it's 5%, but it's still 5%.
yeah,
And that's where we want to be when it comes to assigning.
mhm,
And when you utilize your active income, I can't say that enough. Only you can determine how much money you bring in.
mhm,
And somebody once argued me down about that. But if you have a job that you don't like, guess what I'm telling you to do? I'm telling you, look for another job.
right,
You got my personal
mhm,
urge. Go look for something that you can do that's monetarily, right? That brings in the money that you know. If you need to get two jobs, I told my cousin this. My cousin, if you watch it, because you probably is, I can see you online. I told him, if you got to get two jobs, get two jobs.
yeah,
Because back in the day, right? Because people are like, oh, no, I mean back in the day, back when there was racism, it was still people out there working two jobs, working. Daddy leave for work. Guess what he finna do? Daddy finna go work a job, get done with another job, and go work another job. Mom gonna go. She gonna get y'all off to school. She gonna go work a job. She gonna come home and then do another job, or she gonna do two jobs. Working more than one job is not. It doesn't do backbreaking labor. When I was trying to build a company, I used to literally work 40 plus hours a week.
mhm,
Shouts out to Time Warner Cable. I worked 40 plus hours a week because they had mandatory overtime. I came home and I did an additional 10 hours trying to grow a business. Growing a business isn't the easiest thing. It becomes easier once you put stuff in place. But you talk about doing 10 hours at work and then doing 10 hours on your own business and then waking up and doing it all over again. I mean, it's not the easiest, but it's work. But that work allows you success over time.
mhm. Yeah, I like your guy Robbie. Say his name again.
Robert Kiyosaki.
He says, Robert Kiyosaki, he says it's not about how much money you make, but how much money you keep. And
Yeah.
so it's really disciplining yourself. I can't stress that enough,
Yes.
because a lot of times when you have your money building on the side, if you're not careful, you'll always go to that money. And if you
Yeah.
keep going to that money, it is not going to be long, but that money is not going to be there anymore. And
Yeah.
that's why assigning that money out is so important, so that you have money that's always actively involved in making money at some level. There's no need to be at zero week after week after week after week.
Yeah.
All right. At first, it might be uncomfortable, to work two jobs. It don't have to be that way always. But again, it's about what you do with that money that you're making.
Yeah.
If you set it up using the formula that we're teaching you, it's not going to be long before you're gonna be rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Some people just need to work 2 jobs to get themselves out of debt. Like some people are in extreme debt and they don't want to declare bankruptcy and they don't know what to do. Well, if you're not going to declare bankruptcy and you don't know what to do, you may want to purpose yourself to go get another job, work down all of the credit card debt that you need to work down. And then when that becomes manageable, it don't got to be cleared up. It just got to be manageable. When it's manageable, then you can relax and say, hey, guess what? I don't need the second job because your primary active job is bringing in the income. Or you may work 2 jobs and get used to it. And then you go from there and you're pushing yourself or moving yourself that much more further advanced past the line to get yourself to being financially secure.
Now this is a proven formula. Proven formula. We've had testimony over the weeks in the chat of people coming out of debt, people reaching financial freedom. The formula works, and you have to get to the place where you're willing to trust the process. Trust the process. And listen, if you keep doing what you always done, you're gonna probably keep getting what you always got. All right. Now we're almost out of time. Let me quote this to Napoleon Hill. He says this. I like this, and I'm shortening it. He says, "Start where you stand." But here's the whole quote. Do not wait. The time would never be just right. Start where you stand. Yeah. Why don't y'all put that in the chat for me? Start where you stand. All right. Start where you stand. All right. And so you don't have to get ready. Start where you stand. All right. And so this week, and hopefully you've already did the other 4 weeks that we shared with you. If you didn't, then you need to go back. If you don't have the 90-day challenge, I don't know if they have it in the chat or not, but if you don't have the 90-day challenge, then I need you to get that so you get up to speed. There it is. I see y'all. Brother James, start where you stand. Corey, start where you stand. Yes. Let's not wait no longer. Let's not wait. We're going to start where we stand right now. Just like James said, 5% is 5%. Some more for some less for others. 10% is 10%. More or less, it's the same. And so we're going to start where we stand. Lady B, she says, start where we stand. D'Amica, start where we stand. Yes. We're marking this date. What's the date? The 31st?
January 31st. Yes, it is.
31st, 2025. Start, write it down where we stand. All right. And so this is our start. Now next week, you don't want to miss next week. We're going to take James to another level. Yeah, we're going to take James to another level. We're going to pull on him at a whole nother level. Next week is going to be about identifying, improving, and monetizing. And so you don't want to miss that one. Identifying, improving, and monetizing. James, closing remarks.
I just want to thank y'all for getting online. And if y'all hear something that strikes you, tell somebody because it's all we can do is be a voice, and it's up to you to tell more people. So I want y'all to go do you.
All right, I see it in the link right there. Get your ebook, and so go on get your ebook so you can follow with us. We're on week 5. Next week will be week 6. We're talking about active income. This is your foundation. So remember what we said, how important it is, because when you really understand your active income, that's your foundation, and it brings financial stability, and that's your future wealth building tool. And so that's where we start at, and we build from there. All right. Where we at? 25 seconds. All right. Thank you again for tuning in to Financial Friday. We look forward to seeing you on next week when we talk about identifying, improving, and monetizing active income. God bless you. Thank you again for tuning in. I am